Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Miriam. I am a non-native English speaker from Brazil, and this channel is all about building your English identity. Not just learning the language, but becoming yourself in it. What does it mean to speak English like an American? At first glance, this phrase sounds like accent, imitation, or trying to sound like someone else. But that's not the objective of the book that I'm gonna share with you today. The book, Speak English Like an American, won't tell you to copy anyone. Instead, this will help you to stop translating in your head, which will totally shape your English identity. This book was written by Amy Gillett. She has been teaching English in Stanford and Europe, and it's such a nice book. Let me share with you. Just so you know, I am reading this book on my iPad. I bought it through Amazon. I really wanted the physical version of this book because it has exercises and a lot of things to practice, but unfortunately it was super expensive in Brazil because you can't find English books so easily in Brazil. So I really prefer to buy it online and read it on my iPad. Here's what you're going to find in the introduction of this book. One of the keys to speaking like a native is the ability to use and understand casual expressions or idioms. American English is full of idioms. Have you ever watched movies or podcasts in English, even with a good level of English, and you felt you didn't understand what they were talking about, or you understood some parts of the conversation, but in other parts, it sounds like they were speaking a different type of English. Probably they were using idioms. Idioms are the missing piece for your English, so you can understand native speakers. Often, a student of English tries to translate idioms word for word, or literally. Yes, we do that. This is why idioms are difficult. They work as groups of words, not as individual words. If you translate each word on its own, you will miss the meaning and in many cases end up with nonsense. Yes, so when we learn idioms, we learn a group of words. So when you try to separate them, trying to make sense of it, they won't make sense because they work as group of words. So when you're using idioms, you need to remember that the structure of the phrase or the order of the words are not flexible. The idea of this book is to help you try developing an ear for idioms. Developing an ear for idioms means to learn to listen to something, to recognize something. Develop an ear for idioms. So, see, it's the same meaning, but it's an idiom. You can't translate word by word because it doesn't make sense. Here's one example of another idiom. Learning English is a piece of cake. It has nothing to do with cake. It's just a casual way to say that something is easy, super easy. That's why trying to translate idioms is a waste of time. They work as a group of words, always. So the expression, learning English is a piece of cake, means that learning English is super easy. So just you can understand how this book is structured. Each chapter will start with the lesson, the idioms, and the comprehension quiz. So the lesson involves a story or a situation from real life. For example, lesson 1, Bob's day at work. So you find a dialogue, conversation between two people full of idioms. Then in the next pages, you're gonna see the idioms explained, what they really mean. And then you're gonna find the comprehension quiz, questions and answers, and you need to select them. Very good to practice. This book helped me to understand how Americans really use English in real life. and embrace idioms as part of my English identity. As I always say, your goal with English is to express who you already are in a second language. It's not about being someone else. It's totally the opposite. It's about allowing yourself to exist in a second language. And in English, idioms are super important, so you can truly express who you are in English. I separated a short list of idioms that I learned with this book, my favorite idioms, just so you can feel how idioms work and how you can use them. Look at this idiom. This costs an arm and a leg, which means it's super expensive. Example, this English course costs an arm and a leg. This English course is very expensive. So, again, if you try to separate this group of words to make sense of each word, they won't make sense. But when they are together, they have meaning and you can use them. One more. I hate to break the news, which means I hate to be the person who's saying this, who's sharing this. Example, I hate to break the news, but traditional English schools won't make you fluent. I hate to break the news. That's so nice. You know, when you start to get acquainted with idiomatic expressions, you start to understand them and they start to make sense and you start to use them. One more, let's face it, which means accept a difficult reality. One example, let's face it, learning English is easier than learning Portuguese. You will need to make up your mind quickly. This is very hard for me to use, but it means to make a decision. So instead of you will need to make a decision quickly, you can say you will need to make up your mind quickly. One example, Lisa couldn't make up her mind whether to start a YouTube channel or not. This is one of my favorites. There is no point, which means it's not worth, there is no reason, to do something. For example, there is no point in waiting to learn English. Change your mind, which means change your opinion or decision. I hope you change your mind and start speaking English. Instead of saying, I hope you change your decision and start speaking English, you can say, I hope you change your mind and start speaking English. One of my favorites, easier said than done, which means more difficult than you think, When you say something that it's easy to say, but to do that, it's hard. So easier said than done. You want to be fluent in English? Easier said than done. Look on the bright side, which means to be optimist, to think about the positive part. Look on the bright side. You're learning English and every mistake means you're getting better. There are so many more idioms I learned with this book. I can share all of them because I don't want this video to drag on, which means I don't want this video to feel long and exhausting. But I really encourage you to read this book, learn with the real-life scenarios it will show, make the exercises, and start incorporating some idioms into your speech. If you do that, you will see that building your English identity and understanding native speakers will be a piece of cake. Thank you for being here. Check out my other videos if you want to make English part of who you are and start building a strong English identity.